How you guys doing?
Good.
3-day break starts tomorrow. Did you guys get what you wanted out of these guys these first couple days here?
I thought so. Sunday, typically for us, a bye week Sunday would be a normal Sunday. I felt like we needed the time to really watch the film. So what I think both the offense and defense is watch the first half together to make sure we're all on the same page and how everything fits. And then they took the rest of the time to meet individually. We didn't come out in the field on Sunday, which I thought was good. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, we had two really good practices. Basically, we did individual, we did special teams, we did Skelly third down, we did Skelly red zone, and then we did three basically what we call non-travel, so the guys that aren't playing in the games right now, scrimmages, and went live and got a chance to evaluate those guys and have some fun. They enjoyed it. So I thought we got a lot out of it. Did some kicking at the end of practice for some conditioning. Then we'll have off Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We'll be back somewhat to a normal schedule on Sunday, but instead of having to spend half of our day grading the previous game, obviously we'll be able to get right on to Michigan from jump. And then obviously a lot of the coaches are on the road, so most of us are leaving tonight or tomorrow. We'll be out Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The good thing, it just timed up perfect this week, is with the holiday, there's games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so we get a lot of work done this week from a recruiting standpoint.
With some of the issues you've had with the running game and offensive line, are those things that could be addressed personnel-wise, or does that have to be sort of a scheme type thing?
Yeah, no, obviously, as you guys know, we've talked about it enough. I mean, we don't have the depth to really, do some things like that. I don't think it's any different than what we talked about before. Just sticking with it, watching it. It's the footwork, it's the technique, it's the hand placement, it's finishing blocks and things like that. Perfect example what you were talking about, and I mentioned it early on the Big Ten call. I don't know if you guys saw it. We're looking at our roster this week, talking about recruiting and some things that we're going to need to do for the future. I mean, I think a perfect example, which you guys know, is we got one scholarship offensive tackle in the senior, junior, and sophomore class. That's it. So you look up on the scholarship board, senior, junior, sophomore is one scholarship player, and then the rest are freshmen. So, we've been able to stay healthy for the most part. We just got to continue getting better and growing. But there's no doubt about it. That's kind of where we're at.
When you recruit in season on these bye weeks as opposed to out of season or even during the spring, what's different, and how do you sort of have to prioritize to make sure you hit as many places as possible?
Yeah, I think one of the big differences is for a head coach, you only get so many days out, so you're trying to maximize your time, try to see a first half of one game and a second half of another game. We did that last week, I think, when we were out in Pittsburgh. So that's the biggest thing, and then obviously you can't really have a whole lot of interaction with the players. It's more just that they know you're there. Pick up transcripts, talk to high school coaches, guidance counselors, things like that. It's more for them just to know you're there more than anything, and then maybe get up-to-date test scores and transcripts.
How do you pick, whether you just go to a school or whether you go to a school and go to the game? How do you guys come to that determination?
Well, I think what you're just trying to do is you're trying to look at all the people that you need to get to, and some of it is based on who you need to get to, and some of it's just based on their high school schedule, and the weeks that we've decided we could go out, it works, and sometimes it doesn't. That's part of it. And then I think the other thing is, just being able to travel out of here and be efficient with your time. It's not always the easiest to get out of here, unless you're driving.
Coach Hand likes to talk about iron sharpening iron. Is this an opportunity, maybe with the bye week, to get some of your ones and twos on the offensive line, some work against your ones and twos on the defensive line?
Not really. We do that every single day in practice, in individual. You guys obviously don't get a chance to see that, but what we do is no different than teachers. You try to break it down, part, whole, and what we do is part, group, small group, and then whole group. So we'll do individual on their own, and then we'll do individual against each other in one-on-ones, run or pass, and then we'll do combinations. So maybe half the offensive line versus half the defensive line and things like that. So, we do that all the time. The bye week, to be honest with you, with our situation, the emphasis on the old guys is not to bang, because we just, we have lingering issues that we're trying to get resolved, and the only way you're going to resolve them was with time. So what we tried to do with the older guys is take the banging off them, do the mental stuff with jog throughs and walk throughs to work on footwork and front identification and alignment and assignment and things like that. And then we'll get back into the banging, next week. But this was a time to kind of get off some of that, really.
Coach, trust.
And that goes back. I'm sorry. And that goes back to kind of what we're talking about, just with depth. We got to keep those guys as healthy as possible and get them back fresh.
Trust is normally a big thing when it comes to kickers and place kickers. How long did it take you and your staff to become comfortable with Sam, and just now considering he's pretty much automatic out there, how confident are you guys sending him out there?
Yeah, very much so. That's something we talked about all spring and all summer, that he might have had the most consistent camp and spring of anybody on our team. So he's been really good. It's been a great story, but he's got to finish it, and he's had a nice early part of the season, but there's still a lot of season to go.
I know there's a special speaker before practice this afternoon. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we try to bring guys in throughout the year. It may be speakers to talk about issues in society. It may be different people. I've always felt like college coaches don't take advantage of all the unbelievable resources that we have on campus, all the experts, in their fields of study. So taking advantage of the college campus, and then also the coaches. So Cale came and spoke to the team, and to talk about, before he spoke, I talked about being 159-0 and 4 national championships and 3 Heismans in wrestling, and then 4 national championships as a coach. So, talk about winning and, what it takes. So it was interesting listening to him talk to our guys. And then, I mentioned when he got done that when we spend a lot of time together as coaches, coaches tell stories. And Huff is told stories about how he can hit a fastball of a major league pitcher, which we all said he couldn't. And he also said he could hold his own with Cale Sanderson. So this was a great opportunity to call Huff out in front of the whole team. And when Cale took his keys out of his pocket and his pen and sat it on the deal, Huff's face changed, and the whole room went crazy, and that was kind of the end of that. Huff was a good sport, and so was Cale. But it was great to bring Cale in and talk to our team. It was a great message, and it's a nice change-up, because sometimes they're just hearing the same messages from us over and over again, so we like to bring different people in to give them a different perspective.
Cale's probably 197. What's Huff weigh?
Cale, I think, is like 220.
Is he 220?
But he's like 220 with like 18% body fat.
Right.
I think Huff's like 240 with like 42% body fat. So just different stages of life. And Huff does run on the treadmill for 17 minutes every morning. So maybe that would prepare him.
Hey James, you're so upbeat, positive. Do you think that has created maybe people not understanding still the situation that you're in and all the challenges you have?
It's interesting you bring that up, because I was talking to some people this week, and they said we got to do a better job of educating the public and the media of where we're at, as a program. And there's a fine line to that, because I think you talk about it too much and it becomes an excuse. It becomes an excuse for the players, it becomes an excuse for the program. So it's a fine line, and I don't know what that balance is. I do know there's great expectations at Penn State, and everybody talked about some of our issues before the season starts, but once the season gets going, no one cares about that anymore. You just got to go out and find a way to win. So that's something that I haven't figured out, because I like to stay as positive and as optimistic as possible, and I believe in our guys, and I have a lot of confidence in our guys. But there's no doubt, we all know that there's challenges and issues that we have to overcome. So I'm pleased where we're at. We got to have a great week of practice and get ready for Michigan. But no, you're exactly right, and that's something I kind of struggle with. What's the best approach with you, with the fans, and with our team? Because the way social media is now, and the way just media is in general, everybody reads what you say, and I just want to make sure the same message is being delivered to everybody.
Throughout the caravan, you talked a lot about reading everything you can and doing studies and that kind of thing. With that being said, Tim Bream's been doing what he's done for quite a while here. Have you got a chance to pick his brain, and maybe what do you learn about monitoring guys' health in games, on the sideline? I think earlier this week you said it's everybody's job to monitor that stuff.
But do you get a better sense for that talking to a guy like Tim, who's been doing it for such a long time?
Yeah, I think Tim's a big part of that. I think Deej is a big part of that. I think both of their staffs. We meet every single morning at 7 a.m. as a staff, and it's not just the coaches. Deej is in there and his entire strength staff. Tim's in there as well. All the administrators are in there. And we do that every single morning just to get on the same page. And then any hot topics that are out there in each one of our worlds, our area of specialization, and anything that we want to talk about. Typically, I have notes at practice that I take and I kind of go over them. And then each area, the head of recruiting will talk. Tim will give us a medical report and things like that. So I think that's an opportunity for everybody on the staff to grow and kind of know what's going on in the industry and what things that we can do better.
Can you talk about the importance of scrimmaging your young guys in terms of you guys getting an opportunity to see all these kids? And I'm sure for them, it's kind of big to still feel a part of everything.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons you do it. You do it for morale and chemistry. It brings something different to practice and energy. It keeps those guys involved, that they know they're still being evaluated, that their time could come at any moment. I think that's really, really important. I think it's great for our older guys. I talk about how these guys support them like crazy every Saturday. They need to be out here supporting them and coaching them up as well. So I think it's just really good for the overall health of your program. And I've been a part of some programs that by the time you redshirt, you're just kind of forgotten for a year. And that's when you usually have a high turnover and a lot of attrition, which we don't want.
Not that you base your game planning off of 1 week, but how beneficial is it when you get to have a week off and an opponent plays a team, you already played with Michigan playing Rutgers this weekend? How beneficial is that just to be able to compare to a team you already know?
I think it's valuable. I do. I really think it's valuable. I think the time off probably is magnified for us, the importance of it, maybe compared to other programs. And then being able to watch Michigan play an opponent that we've already played, I think is valuable. An opponent I think we know fairly well. So I do. I think our players can watch that and kind of understand not only that, but Michigan is going to play at Rutgers just like we did. So I think that's a part of it as well. I think Michigan's last 2 games have been at home. So I think all those things are valuable for us.
You're going to be watching that game live or watching Sunday?
Yeah, we're going to be on the road recruiting. So I'm not sure what time that game is. 7 p.m. I think I'll be at a high school game at the time, so I won't be able to watch it. And TV games are good sometimes because you kind of get a feel of real time how things are happening and what's going on, the tempos of the offense and things like that. But the most beneficial thing for us is the coaching, cut-ups with the end zone, the sideline, and stuff like that. So we'll get back in town and be ready to watch that Sunday and get ready to go.
Thanks, Coach.
Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.